Welcome back to the Cozy Content Corner. I hope you are in your cozy corner or wherever you like to listen to a good old potty pod. Today, I have one of my fave people, like ultimate favorite business owners and people, Miss Aubrianna Kay. A little bit about Aubrianna. She is a multiple six-figure business coach who leads other impact-driven entrepreneurs with soul. She helps them create an empowered sales system that they can wash, rinse, and repeat to see sales come in through attraction marketing. Y'all, we love some good attraction marketing. She cuts the fluff and the sleazy bro marketing tactics to help you lead with heart and a human-first approach, teaching you how to overcome limiting beliefs, keeping you playing small, build systems in your business to help you scale and create sustainable recurring cash months that are juicy and fun. We got to keep it fun. She helps you honor your energy and capacity to leverage systems to work smarter, not harder, and room for you to cultivate and trust your own inner guidance to create that dreamy business and life on your heart. Hi, Aubrianna.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. My goodness, how do I follow that up?
Yes, absolutely. I am so glad Aubrianna is here, y'all. Full transparency, because we're all about being transparent here. This is my first guest ever on the podcast. And I told Aubrianna before we started recording, I'm like, if I mess up, don't judge me. But see, this is doing things scared, right? To propel you to the next level. So I'm glad that you are the first.
Can I just say I am honored to be your first?
Yes, so friggin' glad. So please tell us like a little bit about you, your story, like take it as far back as you want to. And we will go from there.
So it all started when a girl met a guy. Just kidding. No, that's my parents. But if we're looking at the beginning of my business journey, I started my own business as a healer. I started in energy work and intuitive development. I've always been intuitive my entire life. I'm very sensitive. And I've always had a knack for business. I went to school for business, have my degree in PR and marketing from Forbes School of Business, and worked in corporate business building for 10 years alongside building my energetic practice. And it always felt like I needed to keep my two worlds compartmentalized. I loved business building, but I hated the politics. I hated the draining energy. And I honestly just didn't resonate with the BS tactics that I was really forced to do. And in my business journey in corporate, I was a little bit of a rebel. I would often break the rules and I was the top performer. So I kind of knew that they weren't going to fire me, but I always straddled that edge of, are they going to catch me? And they would call me out on it. They're like, you're not meeting your cold call quotas. You didn't bring in this contract, but I was bringing in over $1 million gross for these companies. So everywhere that I went, it was like I had this knack for business building and sales and marketing. And it was just not wanting to follow their route. I didn't want to use these icky things. For example, this was for real, y'all. I was told that I had to get a hold of the CEO and they're like, just lie to the secretary, say that you're like his wife or his family. And I was like, I am not going to do that. And so I found another way. I reached out to him on LinkedIn, of all things, using social media, even back then. And I just was honest. I said, this might be a shot in the dark. You know, we've been trying to contact you. It's totally cool if you want to ignore my message, but hey, and it worked. And so when my company saw that, they wanted me to do sales training for the entire West Coast. And I was like, nope, not going to do it. I'm not selling my secret sauce and being a sellout to the man. All while I was running my energy practice on the back end. So I would hold like empath classes. I would teach people about developing their inner guidance system, just really cultivating self-trust, self-care. And I loved it. But there was always this like little knot in my throat that was like, this is not the thing. And I built and scaled that, excuse me, to over six figures just using Instagram. I had 900 followers, not even a huge audience. And I was doing in person and virtual events, going live weekly, and it was fun and I loved it. So you're probably like, when the hell did you become a business coach? It wasn't until I decided to leave corporate and I was sort of working in my energetic practice that I was like, what am I doing with my life? What the hell is going on? I went through my savings really quickly, got really depressed, couldn't like work, didn't want to go back to corporate with my tail between my legs, but I didn't have like the energy and the passion to sustain my energetic business like full time. So it wasn't until one of my past students came to me and was like, Aubrianna, can you help me in my business? Like, I want to monetize my gifts. I want to use social media to bring people in and do it in a way that feels good. That it was like, Sarah, the clouds parted. And I was like, how could I have been so blind to not see this thing right in front of me? And my very first package as a business coach, you'll laugh, it was comical, was $222. Of course, it was an angel number.
Yes, we
But
love a good angel number.
it spurred me into the direction. And it was like everything in my body was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. And so I had a lot of ups and downs and trials and tribulations since then, but there's always been that like draw back to this space. And so I finally resigned to it and was like, all right, I'm going to go full in on this. And that's where we are today, folks.
Yeah. So that is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about how you kind of got the courage to try business again after the first one didn't quite stick?
Yeah, I think that it really wasn't the courage, it was the frustration.
Mm,
I could not live that life. I was betraying my body. I was getting very sick. I was having a lot of panic attacks. I, excuse me, had some digestional issues where I was getting a stomach ulcer from the stress. And so I don't think it was necessarily like I felt brave enough to do it. It was more I was frustrated, I was sick, I was in pain, I didn't want to be there, and I was committed to finding a new way.
yeah. Like there's got to be something else. I
Yeah.
can't keep going on like this.
Yeah.
And I can so relate to that. I felt the same way in my speech job. If
Mm.
you guys don't know that are watching or listening, I used to be a speech pathologist and I literally had never gone to the gastroenterologist before. And then I was like a regular customer because I was making myself physically sick. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
Now how about like growing up? Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Was the money just like coming in here, there, and everywhere in your family? Or were you kind of like the one to maybe start a new cycle?
So I will say that I had some entrepreneurs in my family. So my father was a painter and a contractor, but really struggled with substance abuse and alcohol. And so it was very feast or famine, mostly
Mhm.
famine. And on my parents are separated on my mother's side. My grandfather owned his own concrete business, pumping concrete. So it was like these very manual jobs, very old school kind of thinking of don't do what we did because look at us. We struggled with homelessness. Like my mom was in a shelter growing up. It was like go to school, get a degree, go into corporate, like be safe. And so I was the first person to go to college in my family, but growing up, I had seen people be entrepreneurs, just not successfully. I would never want to switch with them. I would not want to switch places. I didn't love that business. It was very growing up with bootstraps resources, right? My dad would go door to door or he would be on the pier some nights playing the banjo for money. And it was like entrepreneurship was ingrained in my body as risky, as you couldn't make it sustainable, as you're going to have times when you have lots of money, but you're not going to be able to manage that money. You're going to overspend it. And you're going to have to do these things that just don't feel good and aren't going to give you the type of life that you desire. So growing up, even though I had entrepreneurs in my family, it almost kind of deterred me from entrepreneurship because I was like, holy smokes, I do not want that. And so I did try to take the safe route and I tried to do the predictable thing. And I just found myself being so unhappy and so sick and so stressed out that I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah. So, how did you go into entrepreneurship with a new lens,
Yeah,
especially that second time that you went back? So, like going in with the idea of like, I'm not gonna overwork myself until I'm sick. I'm not gonna, make this like a feast or famine thing again. What kind of shifts did you have to make in
that's
order
a
to kind of carry that out?
that's a really good question. So the first time I left, I was in just so much pain. I had to just get out of there. I had no plan, no support. I was throwing spaghetti at the wall and I was like, let's see what happens. And we saw what happened. So the second time I went back to corporate with my little tail between my legs, I was like, I'm going to make a plan. I know how to plan businesses. This is what I do all day, every day in corporate. I was like, why aren't I implementing this for myself? So I sat down and I made a 6-month exit plan. It was like, I need to be generating at least this amount, my first goal in my business with $1,000 a month consistently. And then I needed to have a savings amount that I knew could carry me for the next 6 months. Right. And so, on top of that strategic planning, the biggest shift, and this is what I think really actually made the difference, was me declaring and working on my self worth. A $200 offer was not sustainable, right? That's most people's target trips. When
Hmm.
I was living in Los Angeles at the time, the cost of living there is astronomical. I don't have any kind of support from family. I was lucky enough that I was with my now wife, but my partner at the time. And oh, let me tell you, it doesn't feel good when you can't make your half of things.
Yeah.
So I had to level up my self concept and say, look at your experience, look at your education, look at what you've been able to produce in the corporate world and with the clients you've already taken on at these $200 offers. You need to craft something more sustainable and know that you're worth it and you need to own it. And so I came back, did a little reworking, and I created a $2,500 offer. And then it was like, oh, I can breathe. Something's
Yes.
happening.
Yes. Yes. And I love that. And I love like all of your story that you share. I love seeing the behind the scenes with your wife. I love seeing the things that you have been able to achieve, and the trips that you've been able to go on and all of that stuff. So, how long did it take you to feel comfortable sharing your story, like who you truly are,
Yeah.
on social media? And what did that look like from a mindset perspective?
I think that it's really hard to want to share your story, especially if you come from a background anything similar to mine, right? Where you struggled with a lot of scarcity or you around abuse, drugs, because you have this internal thing of, I don't want to be perceived as a victim. So when it came to sharing my story on social media, I was very intentional with how I was sharing my story and making sure that it was through the lens of this is where I am now and here is how I've transformed, and not through the lens of this is why I'm not further along in life. And so when I was coming to a space of wanting to share this with people, the thing that really drew me to speak on it was to think about if I had seen someone doing this with my background when I was starting out, how that would have helped me. Because we see so many people, they come on social media, they just blow up. And it's like we don't see what they have had to overcome, or we don't see where they started. We just see the shiny bits. And so that was really the mindset I had to take through the vulnerability hangovers and the discomfort of thinking this is going to help someone, even if it's just one person, even if I get made fun of, even if people think I'm trying to like get attention on socials, or if they judge me, or if they want to cancel me, or whatever it is they want to do. I had to come from that place of service of, if I can impact one person's life, then it will have been worth it.
Yes. Yes. And as amazing as the shiny bits are, a lot of the time, what draws your people to you is sharing the things that are maybe a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right? Like the doggies agree with that. Like you sharing that you are queer, you sharing that you came from a history of, a family with substance abuse issues, me sharing about my chronic illnesses. We can share about our wins all day, and we do. We love some good social proof. But sometimes people need a little peek behind the curtain as to like who you are and what you've been through. And I think that once you can get past that uncomfortable period, it's so incredibly impactful and important for growing your community.
Yes.
Now tell us, because we love some TikTok around here. Tell us how you got onto TikTok and how TikTok has kind of changed the name of the game for your business, because you said you started on Instagram. So tell us about that shift and what TikTok has done for your business.
So my TikTok journey, you're probably going to laugh.
Oh, I'm excited. I feel like I've never heard this before.
I obviously was in the quarantine lockdown scrolling TikTok, and I was very resistant to it from a business standpoint. Oh my gosh. I did not want to make videos. I didn't even want to make reels. I was like, I'm sticking it to you, Instagram. I'm not going to go with this update. And it's really ironic because at that point in my business, I was like going live all the time, literally making videos. But there was something about like the creative process or somebody telling me what I had to do in marketing that I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. That little rebel and resistance inside of me. So I was noticing how I was using TikTok, and I was like, I'm using this for a lot of business education. I was like getting in the algorithmic flow, and I was like saving things and saving videos and coming back to watch them. And I was like, Aubrianna, you're being dumb. You could be this resource for other people. And I was not good at making TikTok videos. I was not good at short form video content whatsoever. I didn't know how to grow on there. I literally put the camera up, said some things to it, hit post, and I did not go viral by any means. And I was like, I just kept posting. And at this time, early TikTok, the algorithm was like favoring lots of posting. So I kind of was not talking about business. I was talking about manifesting. So I actually was like, you know what? I'm just going to share my woo out here. So I did go mega viral and continued to go mega viral over and over and over and over again. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But it wasn't anything to do with my business. And I tried to pivot my content and it flopped. It was like the algorithm hated me now. There was nothing I could do. And so I deleted that super big account. I had like, I don't know, 55,000 followers or something.
I had no idea about this account.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I don't even really talk about
So
it.
you were trying to post business content on your more woo-woo account.
Yes. It was my only account at the time. I'm a spiritual entrepreneur. I love to talk
Yes.
energetics, and I happened to make a video about manifesting, and it just boom. And so I was like, well, let's do what works. But it wasn't converting because I wasn't talking about my offers. I wasn't showing up as an authority. I wasn't using it intentionally. And
Right.
so I just deleted the damn thing. And I was like, forget TikTok. I'm making good money over here. Well, that didn't last too long. I came back and I was like, okay, we deleted that. I'm creating an only business account. I don't care if it flops. I'm just going to be a resource. So do you know who Felicia for the win is on TikTok?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. She does a lot of like philosophical videos and I just love them to pieces. They're always like, what would you do if this monkey was in a cage? And kind of that kind of content. So I was in this space of wanting to build my business and I saw she was offering consulting. So I actually hired her for she's a previous software engineer. She's like, I've hacked the TikTok algorithm. I'm offering consult calls to help you hack the algorithm. And I was like, okay. So we kind of like went through some of the algorithm and it came down to a challenge of her telling me to post 10 videos a day for 30 days.
Oh my gosh. Did
And
you do it?
this was I did it. Oh yeah.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh.
I was like, oh, I'm committed. I'm going to make this happen. I was like in my PJs some days and I was just like, hi, my name is Aubrianna Kay.
Anybody watching or listening to this, do not burn yourself out and post 10 videos a day.
But you know what I learned? It wasn't so much the burnout, but it really made me get comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with getting on camera. And I want to just like say this is not a bad comment on Felicia because she was like, you don't have to do this. She was like, this is just what the algorithm was favoring. This was years ago, by the way. And so I did it and it did help me grow. It did help me grow my account, of course, because I was like pumping out content like a mad person. But I obviously would never recommend anyone doing that now, as you mentioned. And that was really like the birth story of me getting on TikTok was just full force, jump in the deep end. Let's figure it out. And I still have never gone mega viral on my business account, but I have netted over $150,000 off the platform.
Yes, you have.
Yes, I have.
So talk to us about that. So Aubrianna has never gone mega viral on the platform, yet you're getting all of these sales. You have an awesome community on there.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I think I just showed up with intention, right? I really came from a place of service and I came from a place of, I'm going to sell. If you don't want to watch it, you have the freedom to scroll on, baby. Like, no one's keeping you here. I think my highest views is like 5,000. That's
Mm-hmm.
very low. Most of them get about 2 to 300, 500 on a good day, when things are shiny. But when you show up and you create content that connects with people, that is really just the key. It doesn't matter if you go viral and you're not connecting, it's purposeless. I see and help entrepreneurs every day who go viral, but they're like, I can't get a sell. I'm like, who? Been there, remember? Let me show you how to do it differently. And so when you show up and you come from service and you come to connect and you show who you are and what you offer and the impact that drives your actions, people want to be in your world.
100%. So how do you feel like you've gotten all of these conversions on TikTok? Because so many people that are listening probably show up,
Mm-hmm.
but they're having a hard time going from viewer to customer.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have and what has worked for you in getting those viewers to become customers?
So this is what I call creating action in your content, right? I can show up and be like, here are 5 ways to do this. No one's going to do jack shit. Just being honest with you. They're going to save my post. They're going to come back. They're going to like it. They're going to engage with you. But you're not creating any curiosity or agitation to move people through the process of taking action. So what this might look like is, here is how I took a client from X to this, and this is how we overcame it. If this is the thing you're struggling with, connect with me. Right? I'm creating this is where you're struggling. This is where you could go. Here's the possibility of the offer, and here's the invitation. This is creating movement. And it doesn't always have to be a story. You can still show up and educate if that's your zone of genius, but make it an addressing exactly what it is your client is struggling with. So if you do this very beautifully, Sarah,
Thank you so
if you
much.
struggle to get up on camera and to market your business, here's exactly some things you can start doing. You can use storytelling. You can use these hooks, right? if you want more support, if you're ready to actually blow up your business and have custom blah, 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 come work with me. You're creating that movement. It's not story, it was educational, but we're taking them on a journey and giving them a path where they can self-lead at that point.
Yes. And it's so important to always have some kind of call to action, because you have to remember the algorithm is tailored to that person. So they could be watching replays of Sister Wives and Vanderpump Rules and then go on to your business content, but they're still in that like mindless scroll phase. So sometimes you do have to kind of spoon feed them what to do next. And that's okay. I don't want you to think that that's like too pushy or anything like that. Like that is okay.
Another thing that's worked really well, speaking of spoon feeding, is like I put a comment on there with a call to action. I say it in my video and I'll put a comment of to spark engagement or to lead them to my freebie or lead them to a connection call. Do not be afraid to add in multiple layers of engagement around a call to action.
Yes, yes, I agree. We love a good call to action.
We do.
So now for you, have you had have people buy right off of TikTok, or do you usually have to lead them to Instagram or to your email list before they buy?
I think it really depends on where this person is in their business. So I have my content that converts e-guide linked up in my bio. It's a low $27 purchase. People buy that all the time off TikTok, which tells me that they're in my link, which is a good thing, right? However, when it comes to people wanting to coach with me, there's two paths that I see. They either go and they follow me on Instagram and they start DMing me and they're in my stories and they're lurking on me a little bit because it is a large investment, or they go from TikTok to connection call to conversion. So those are really like the two paths. And I would say that it's about a 50-50 split for my high ticket offer of what their buyer behavior is.
Yeah. And so it is totally possible to sell high ticket right
All
off of
day.
TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, my one-on-one package is a 10 grand investment. So many leads come in from TikTok. The last two that I booked were from TikTok.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because on TikTok, it really feels like you're just on FaceTime with the creator, right? And so people get to know you really, really fast. And that's what makes it possible for people to take that action towards maybe the higher ticket investments.
Yeah, and I think it's also that action, right? You're building that authority, that social proof, and I think it's important because of the clients you serve to mention. I do not have a lot of followers on there by any means. I'm under 6,000, which I've been on there for a couple years, right? And so while I have grown, my Instagram is only 2,500, for goodness sakes, right? So it speeds up this process of know, like, and trust. And if you can show up and connect and create those relationships, going live, creating access to you, oh my gosh, it'll totally change the game for your business. It doesn't matter if you're selling a $27 product or thousands and thousands of dollars on there.
Yes. Now, talk to us about offer stacking or an offer suite, right? Because you said you have an ebook and then you said you have one-to-one access. So what does that mean to kind of have an offer suite? And talk to us about what yours looks like so we can get like a good picture, a good example.
So right now I have my digital product, which is my ebook. It's $27. Monday, I have membership opening, which is a $97 buy-in. Waitlist, there'll be some founder member specials, you know? So those are like my two low ticket offers. The next step up to work with me is my group/mastermind. So this is like the $4,000 to $5,000 range, where we're bringing people into that, what some people would consider high ticket, but it's a 3-month sprint of working together and going through your business foundations to get to the 4 to 5 figure consistent cash months. Then I have my private coaching containers for my entrepreneurs who are a bit more seasoned, typically, not always. Just depends on their level of investment, what their goals are, how deeply they want to be supported. And that is a 3-month sprint where I am like in your business with you as your partner, building things out, creating copy, content writing, fluffing your website. Like we are in it, in it. And then that's what's visible from the outside. So that's like the path that you see there. Then I have retention offers and client upgrade offers. So if somebody comes into my group with me, I have a little special package for them to continue working with me. When someone ends a one-on-one package with me, I have a client retention offer where they can continue. And then I have a client retainer where if they want to kind of have some support, some minimal support, I have that as well. So while on the front end, it might seem like, okay, you have 4 ways to work together. I have a really expansive offer suite because I have people on retainer. I have to keep spots open because a lot of my clients resign. And I intentionally plan that into my business as ongoing recurring income. So when you think about offer stacking, if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm nowhere near that, start with 1 to 2 really intentional offers. Have a passive income product and then have a really juicy, sustainable like offer that you're going to work with somebody one-on-one to make sure that you can build the demand to scale into group, to scale into membership, to scale into retention or ongoing client packages.
Yes, and a freebie. Always have
Yes.
some always have some kind of freebie or lead magnet. And when I say that, I mean it could be a
Yeah.
20-minute workshop that you've given in the past. It could be a PDF, something to get people into your email list sphere
Yes.
because you want to get those people to take action, to go onto your email list just in case 1, anything happens to social. 2, it's just another more personal touch point to have with them. So email
How
is
did
a
you let me forget that?
I knew you had one. I knew you
Yes.
had one.
I have a guide up there right now all about signing clients off social media.
Yes, yes. Super
Hello.
important to have. People get like a little taste of what it's like to even make a bigger investment, even if it's just $27. Sometimes people need that like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I like this. I like your vibe. I'm ready to go on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now for people that have multiple offers like you and I,
Mm-hmm.
how do you create content around that? Do you just create content about your lower ticket offers and hope that people climb the ladder to the other ones? Or do you intentionally make content about every offer? Talk to us kind of about your process.
So here's my process, and you're going to love it. I speak to my highest ticket offer 90% of the time because if people desire to work with you, they will waterfall into the other spaces.
Mm-hmm.
They go and they're like, holy crap, like I can barely swallow that price. They're going to look at what else I offer, right? That being said, when I am in an intentional launch period for a program, for doors opening, I will create content just for that when I am in the launch. But if I'm not in a launch season, I am speaking to my one-on-one because not only do I want to drive traffic there, right? That's maybe the bread and butter, but I want to get people into an expansive place of starting to look at their business through that lens. I want to take them on a journey of letting themselves free themselves out of the box of small business into what is it that you want to desire? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to have happen for you? So I speak to my highest package most of the time because that is where the mindset is, where that's the embodiment of what I really love to teach, showing you how to show up, create a 6-figure, multiple 6-figure business, leverage your time, leverage your energy. And I bring those themes into everything else that I offer. So, regardless of if you can't afford this right now, those themes are recurring in everything that I do, and you'll come into one of my other spaces.
Yes, I love that. So now when you're ready to open up that camera and press record,
Mm-hmm.
what is your process like? How do you think of your content ideas? Do you have a fancy space that you record? Do you change your shirt for every video? Talk to us about your content creation process.
Sarah, don't come at me. I just
Oh my
batch.
God, I don't. Literally batched 10 videos in this pink shirt, and you guys are going to see this friggin' pink shirt all over TikTok.
You and me both. It's like, oh, polka dot like shirt for like the past 20 videos.
Yes.
I keep it so stupid simple. Let me show you. We're going to go into Aubrianna's world right now. I have an
Yes.
iPhone, which most people do. We have this cute little notes app. This is my content process. So I have a little thing in here of content ideas, and we write them down when I get a download or somebody asks me a question, or I see that a client is struggling somewhere, or I see that I'm struggling somewhere. I'm like, ooh, I should speak on this. And so it really doesn't have to be that hard. But look, when you start doing it, you get tons of content. You don't have to rake your brain. Just go through your day and say, would this be valuable to someone? I had trouble setting up my tech. Maybe I should talk about it, show them what I did to fix it. Like, it really is that simple. So I think that, I, even in my content guide, it's really super simple. I'm like, here's the hook, here's the value, here's the action, here's the invitation. And you just plug and play your day into these things, and it makes content that connects and drives action. Doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes I just go on there and free flow. I'm like, hey, what's up? And that's
Yes.
fine too.
Yes. And I do the same thing. And I literally have it in my notes app as well. Any frequently asked questions that come my way, anything that pisses me off in my industry, anything that absolutely lights me up in my industry, any resources that I think would be valuable, I literally just put it in my notes app as well. So do not overcomplicate it. Do not overcomplicate it. All right.
You're so good at that,
Oh,
making this
thank
accessible
you.
for people. You really are.
Thank you. Yes, that is like, I do not want anyone listening or watching to overcomplicate.
Mhm.
Um, I literally sit in this same corner of my couch. I
Yeah.
know Aubrianna sits in her beautiful office. We do not change our shirts for every single video. Make it easy. Make it
Mhm.
super easy for yourself because it'll be sustainable that way. And you want your content to feel good and feel sustainable.
Yes.
All right, Aubrianna, you are absolutely amazing. This was so juicy and wonderful as I knew it would be. So, can you tell the peeps where they can find you if they want some Aubrianna Kay in their lives?
Yes. Well, you can find me on TikTok at Aubrianna
Yes.
Kay, and on Instagram, and on YouTube, and on Pinterest. I am in all of the places, and luckily not a lot of people have my name, so it is just at Aubrianna Kay, 2 N's in there. I know that you will link it for me, but if I could just leave you with one last little tidbit,
Yes,
especially
please
around
do.
content creation, something I remind myself every day is impact over image. Don't worry
Mm.
about it being perfect, just worry about your impact.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And I totally agree with you. All right. Thank you so much for everyone that was listening or watching to this episode of the Cozy Content Corner. And I will see you on the next one.